Disaster recovery tools. So we've just installed an updated driver for our video adapter, and then when we restart our computer, a big old error is displayed on the screen. So in case disasters like this happen, who are we going to call? Well, hopefully nobody, because Windows XP provides several tools and utilities to get a failed computer up and running. Let's take a look at those by bringing up our little whiteboard here. In this video, we're going to learn how we can use the last known good configuration, the advanced boot options and recovery console, and new to Windows XP, the rollback driver, system restore, and automated system recovery options for troubleshooting and restoring Windows XP to a working system. We're going to start this journey off by seeing how we can use our last known good configuration by getting XP up and running. The last known good configuration is location in the registry that has a copy of device driver, service, and system settings which were used the last time that the computer was able to start successfully. For example, if we had installed a device driver or an application that made configuration changes which caused the computer to display errors or even freeze up while the computer is trying to start, what we can do is restart the computer using the last known good configuration settings, which doesn't know about the changes that were made by the device driver or the application that we installed. It just knows about the last settings which worked, and those settings will be used to get the computer up and running. Let's dive into the registry and take a look at this setting by clicking on Start, then click Run, and then either type in regedt32 or type in regedit as we had talked about in our previous video, and then press the Enter key. And that brings us into our registry editor. The registry is a hierarchical database that contains information about our hardware configuration, our software configuration, and our user profile configurations. And all that information is stored into these little folders that are referred to as keys. And the last known good information is stored in H key local machines. So let's expand that by clicking on the plus sign. And we have to go to a sub key called System. We'll expand that. While Windows XP is starting, it will look to this location in the registry to find system information such as which drivers should start. That information is contained in something called a control set, and we have three control sets: current control set 002, and control set 001. The settings that are used while the computer is running are found in current control set, and any updates that are made to drivers and the such are also made in current control set. When you start the computer, you'll start either with a default control set or a last known good control set, and we can distinguish which of these two is default and which one is last known good by clicking on this sub key called Select. The Select key contains pointers pointing us to which of these three control sets is either last known good, default, or current. And we can determine which control set is which by looking at the last number in parentheses. So for example here, the last known good configuration information is found in current control set 002, whereas the information for current control set and our default control set is found in number 1, or which corresponds to current control set 001. So we see here that current control set really is just a pointer to control set 001, which means that all changes that are made to current control set will also be available to current control set 001, which is our default control set, and that is used as a default while Windows XP is starting up. If changes made to the default control set cause errors while the computer is trying to start, then we can restart the computer and manually tell the computer to start with the last known good settings by using the advanced boot options menu. So in this example, if we were to manually start the computer using our last known good configuration, that would take all the settings from current control set 002, which remember is the copy of all the system settings that were used the last time the computer was able to start successfully. That is a key thing to remember. The last known good configuration does not contain a history of all the instances when the computer is able to boot up successfully, just the last time the computer is able to start successfully. Also, when you're able to start the computer successfully and log on to the computer and you see the desktop, the settings in the last known good configuration get overwritten with all the settings found in current control set as well. So that's a little gotcha you have to watch out for. Try using the last known good configuration first to resolve errors that you encounter while the computer is starting. If that doesn't fix the problem, then try using some of the other advanced boot menu options, and we'll take a look at that now by closing out of here and bringing up our whiteboard. The advanced boot options can help us to start Windows XP when we encounter problems with the operating system. And to access the advanced boot options menu, first start the computer and then press the F8 key on your keyboard just after the computer has checked the RAM, the keyboard, the mouse, and storage device settings, but just before Windows XP tries to start. So you've got a window of opportunity of about 3 seconds to press the F8 key to display the advanced boot options menu. If the menu hasn't displayed and XP tries to start, just simply restart the computer and try it again. Once the advanced boot options menu has been displayed, then we can go ahead and choose from a list of following options to start the computer in. When we're not having any problems with our computer, you're running in an environment called normal mode. However, if you are encountering problems, we can try to restart the computer in an environment called safe mode, which runs the computer with just regular VGA video drivers, plain Jane mouse driver, just a keyboard driver, really just the bare necessities to get the computer up and running. And if the computer is able to run fine in safe mode, that means that something else is the problem. Some other driver, some other service, or maybe an application. So maybe our network adapter driver or sound card driver or something like that is causing the problem. If Windows XP was able to start in safe mode, restart the computer and then try starting it in safe mode with networking to see if the networking drivers are the cause of the problem. If you're able to run in this mode without any problem, then you know it's something else, and then we can use the computer management console to try to disable some other drivers, or also use the computer management console to try to disable services. When you start the computer in the safe mode and safe mode with networking, it automatically launches Explorer.exe, which is your basic desktop with the start button, with the taskbar, with the My Computer icon. That can cause problems with applications sometimes. So we have another option called safe mode with command prompt that we can start our computer in. So instead of seeing our desktop in this mode, we just see the command prompt, and that's it. To help determine which drivers or services could be the root of the problem, we can restart our computer and choose Enable Boot Logging from the Advanced Boot menu. And this will create a little file which will show all the drivers and services that try to start during the startup process. And the file is called ntbtlog.txt. It's a little text file, and you're going to open up this file and look for any drivers or services. They have the word failed next to it, and those drivers or services could be what's causing the problem. On the other hand, if you think that your video driver is causing system instability, you can restart your computer and test that theory by choosing Enable VGA mode. And that's going to start Windows XP just with a basic VGA driver, and it's only going to display 256 colors with the screen resolution of 640 by 480. And if your problems go away in that environment, you know that then truly your problem is related to your video driver. Our last option, debugging mode, is typically used by programmers to really get to the root of the problem. In order to use this mode, we have to have another Windows XP computer that we're connected to by using a serial cable. Then we would send debugging code over the serial cable to the other computer, where a programmer can look at all this information to try to find out exactly what's going on. Oftentimes you're able to fix startup problems by using one of these different options or a combination of these options, but if the startup problem is so severe that it prevents you from starting your computer into safe mode or even using the last known good configuration, there's another utility that we can use called the recovery console. Let's take a look at that by bringing up another whiteboard. We can use the recovery console to start our computer in a command line environment, and that means that Windows XP is not running. So unlike starting Windows XP with safe mode and command prompt, where Windows XP is running in the background, Recovery Console just displays a command line from where we can get our computer up and running by stopping and starting services, and even repairing our Windows XP system files as well. We can run the Recovery Console straight from our Windows XP CD, or install the Recovery Console ahead of time from our Windows XP CD by running WinNT32 with the CMD CONS switch. So let's see how we install the Recovery Console. So the first step is to place your Windows XP CD in your computer. I've already done that ahead of time. The next step is to click on Start, then click on Run, then click on your Browse button. Let me bring this up here for you. Click on our Browse button, and we're going to click on this drop down arrow, and we're going to look for our Windows XP CD, and here it is. And the Windows XP CD is just firing up. Now we're going to our i386 directory, double click on that, and then we're going to locate WinNT32, select that, click Open, and then place your cursor in this dialog box. And then we're going to put in the switch that we just talked about, CMD CONS, and then just press the OK button. And so this is going to install the Recovery Console onto our computer, and it's going to bring up a little dialog box informing of this right now. And so if we click on Yes, it's going to take up about 7 megs of hard drive space to make the Recovery Console available, so let's go for it. What this means is when we start our computer, we can either start our computer right into Windows XP, or we'll see a menu option to choose to start our computer using the Recovery Console. So if you're having just critical errors where you can't get into safe mode, the last known good configuration doesn't work, nothing else is working, run the Recovery Console from the CD or install it ahead of time to get your system up and running. So we'll let this do its job here, and we'll come back in just a second. It's almost done. And there we go. Okay. And this is an important dialog box right here. To see a list of all the commands that you can use within the Recovery Console, start the computer in the Recovery Console, and then just type the word help, press the Enter key, and that'll show you all the commands that you can use within this console to help get your system up and running. To actually run the Recovery Console, once you've got it installed, you're going to have to log on as the local administrator. So make sure you have that username and password handy for the local administrator for the computer that you're trying to run the Recovery Console on. Now hopefully you won't encounter drastic problems with Windows XP that would require you to use the Recovery Console to fix those problems. Most of the problems you're going to encounter with Windows XP or other Windows operating systems typically revolve around device drivers. And a new feature found in Windows XP called Device Driver Rollback helps us with this exact problem. Let's close out of here and take a look at this new feature. This feature is found within our Device Manager, so let's open up our Device Manager by clicking on Start. Choose My Computer, right-click My Computer, choose Manage, and that opens up the Computer Management Console, and from here click on Device Manager. So let's say you've just updated a driver for your network adapter, and then you restart your computer and you can no longer use your network adapter. Well, it's probably pretty likely that the driver that you just used to update the network adapter is what's causing the problem. So now what we can do is select our network adapter or any device that we're having a problem with. Let's choose our network adapter here. Go to the properties of that adapter just by double clicking on it, and we can go to the driver tab, and from here there's an option that says rollback driver. This option allows us to revert or roll back the driver that we've updated to the previously installed driver that was working. So unlike last known good configuration, which gets updated every single time we log on, the rollback driver option always remembers the previously installed driver. The one thing you can't do with a device driver rollback is you can't roll back beyond one driver version, meaning if you've updated the driver 5 times, you can't roll back to the first, the second, and the third driver. We can only roll back to the previously installed driver. Additionally, if you can't start your computer into normal mode, you can try starting your computer in safe mode, and you have the option to roll back your driver while in safe mode as well. The rollback driver feature is an excellent method to resolve problems when we've just made a single change. We've just updated one driver. However, if we made many changes, maybe we've updated 5 drivers and installed 3 applications and made a registry change, and then when we restart our computer, we encounter a whole bunch of problems, but now we don't know which one of the changes actually is causing the problem. Well, in that type of scenario, we can use a new feature in Windows XP called System Restore to undo all those changes that you just made. Let's close out of here and take a look at that feature. System Restore is a feature that runs in the background, and it's kind of lurking about looking for changes that are occurring with the operating system. And it will take a snapshot of the computer's system settings before changes are made to the computer. And this snapshot is called a restore point. And you can use this restore point to roll back the entire operating system to the previous restore point without doing any harm to your data. We can turn this feature on or off from our System Properties control panel. Let's take a look at that by clicking on Start. Select My Computer, right-click My Computer, and then choose Properties. And then from here, click on the System Restore tab. System Restore is actually enabled as a default, as we see below. It's monitoring changes on my C and E partition, but we can use this option to turn off System Restore on all drives. Or if I just wanted to stop monitoring my E partition, I could select E, click on Settings, and then choose this option right here to turn off System Restore just for E. Another option that we have here is the ability to set how much drive space is available for the restore points that System Restore creates. System Restore will create a restore point once every 24 hours if the computer is left on all the time, or if it's been 24 hours since the last restore point was created. Additionally, restore points will automatically be created when you install unsigned device drivers and when you install applications, and we can also manually create restore points as well. If System Restore runs out of hard drive space to store all these restore points, what it'll do is delete older restore points to make room for newer restore points, and this feature is called First In, First Out. The first save restore point will be the first ones out to make room for newer restore points. So this is how we turn on and off System Restore. Let's close out of here and see how we actually roll back our operating system using System Restore. We'll close out of this dialog box. We can find the System Restore wizard by clicking on Start and then choosing All Programs, and then find Accessories and select that, and then locate System Tools, and then within System Tools find System Restore, and then click on that option, and that's going to fire up a little wizard. Okay, so it's actually a pretty big wizard, but in this wizard we see that we have two options. Number one, restore our computer using restore points, or number two, manually create restore points. This is a great option to use if you're going to manually make changes in the registry and you want to create a backup of your system settings, including the registry, before you go ahead and actually make those changes. Let's take a look at the first option here, how to undo our operating system changes by using restore points. And it's going to bring up a little calendar here and show you all the restore points that have been created automatically or manually. The days that restore points were created on are highlighted in bold. So if we click on this date right here, we see that there are two restore points, one called Test and one called System Checkpoint. The System Checkpoint restore point is the automatically created restore point that occurs every 24 hours, whereas the Test restore point is a restore point that I had manually created on this date. Now let's say that our computer just hasn't been working right since the 17th. So what we can do is roll back the entire operating system settings back to how the computer looked like and behaved on the 17th, our last known good date for the operating system running well. So we do that by clicking on the 17th, choosing the appropriate restore point, and then click on Next. This page shows us that we're going to restore our system using this selected restore point, and that we're not going to harm our data in any form or fashion. It's not going to reverse the work that we've done in our data. And also, in order for these changes to take effect, we're going to have to restart our computer. So when I click on the next button, it's automatically going to restart my computer here. So what I'm going to have to do right now is pause the video, let the computer restart, and we'll see how System Restore looks a little different after a restoration has been done. The computer has restarted, and once you log on to the computer, the System Restore wizard will display a page saying that the restoration was successful, and that you can either open the System Restore and run the wizard again to use another restore point, or undo the last System Restore. Let's take a look at this by firing up System Restore again. We'll click on Start and choose All Programs, choose Accessories, go to System Tools, and fire up System Restore again. And we're going to have another option in this wizard that says Undo my last restoration. This is a pretty cool feature here. Basically allows us to undo the undo. If the restore point that we just restored made matters worse, or if we had selected the wrong restore point, we can undo that restoration by choosing this option and going through the wizard. So as you see here, System Restore is a very flexible tool to allow you to undo multiple changes to hopefully get your computer back up and running. And you can run System Restore in normal mode and in safe mode. But if System Restore couldn't fix the problems, then it's time to take out a really big stick to fix your operating system once and for all, and that's called Automated System Recovery. Let's close out of here and take a look at that. The System Restore feature allows us to roll back changes that were made to the operating system, but the restore points don't back up the entire operating system. If our hard disk is damaged so severely that we can't use any of the tools that we've talked about so far to repair Windows XP, then hopefully we've created a automated system recovery, or what's called ASR backup, which is a backup of the entire operating system and the operating system partition. Let's take a look at that right now. We can use the Windows XP backup utility to create an ASR backup, and we can find this utility by clicking on Start, and then select All Programs, and then select Accessories. Then within Accessories, locate System Tools, and then in System Tools, select Backup, and then just click on Backup. That's going to fire up a little wizard here, which allows us to run the backup utility either in a wizard mode or in advanced mode. To create an ASR backup, we have to run in advanced mode, so let's click on that now, and here we go. ASR is a replacement for the emergency repair disk backups that we had available in Windows 2000. An ASR backup is a two-step process where we need a backup media and a floppy disk. And we start this process just by clicking on this little button here. So let's do that now. And that's going to fire up a wizard here. And to proceed, we'll just click on the next button. The first part of the wizard is asking us where should we back up our operating system files onto. And basically you just have three choices. You can back up your files to a tape drive, a removable disk such as a writable CD-ROM, or other hard disks that might be connected to this computer that you're performing an automated system recovery backup on. So you just click on the Browse button to find that backup media, and I'm just going to use this E drive for this example here. And then when you click on the next button, it'll take about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the size of your partition, to back up all these files. Once that backup is finished, then the wizard is going to ask you to insert a floppy disk to copy information about where the files were backed up onto, which type of media. It's going to contain information as to the system partition, how large the system partition should be. And then once that is complete, you have created an ASR backup. Now hopefully you'll never have to use your ASR backup. But if your operating system gets so corrupted and you can't start it using any of the methods that we've talked about so far, or if your hard disk is damaged and you have to remove it and install a new hard disk, that is the time to restore your system with your ASR backup. And to perform the restore, you're going to need three things. You're going to need your ASR floppy disk, you're going to need your Windows XP Professional CD, and then you'll need the actual ASR backup if it was on a CD or a tape drive or a different hard drive. Make sure you have all three of those components handy. The first step would be to restart your computer and boot your computer from your Windows XP Professional CD, and that will start the installation phase of Windows XP. And the second prompt of that installation phase will ask you if you want to perform an ASR restore. And if you do, you press the F2 key on your keyboard, and that will proceed to perform a base installation of Windows XP from the Windows XP CD. And something to be aware of there is that ASR restores will completely reformat your system partition. So that means that the files that are restored from your ASR backup will only be as current as your ASR backup. So don't use this method as a means for backing up all of your data. Make sure you've backed up your data onto different tape drives or different CD-ROMs before you proceed. Also, make sure you don't place your ASR backups on a network SharePoint, as ASR is not able to connect and then restore from network SharePoints. So once the ASR restore has been completed, you just remove the floppy disk, remove your Windows XP CD-ROM, restart the computer, and you'll be back up and running just as if nothing had happened. And that completes our look at ASR. Let's do a quick recap of the utilities that we learned about in this video by bringing up a little whiteboard here and just open up my file. So in this video we learned how to restore our system by using our last known good configuration information, and we can access the last known good configuration from our advanced boot options, where we can choose from our different safe mode options and our boot logging options. As a general thumb, try using last known good configuration first to bring your system up and running. If that doesn't work, go into your advanced boot options and boot into safe mode, and from there either use rollback driver or system restore while in safe mode to try to get your system up and running. If those options don't work and you just can't start Windows XP at all, then try using recovery console to stop services or repair the operating system while in the recovery console. And if none of these options don't work to get your system up and running, then take out the big stick ASR to restore your system, assuming you have an ASR backup, to get your system back up and running. But make sure that if you're using ASR, always have current backups of your data, because ASR backups will only be as current as the last ASR backup. With that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this video, and I hope this video has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.